All right, let's keep it talking with this console to PC thing because I really wanted to go ahead and take a much more in depth approach. People have softened up a little bit more that we see the PlayStation 5 Pro with a very high price. PlayStation Plus was upped actually about a year or last year ago, depending on when you can remember the timelines. And so a lot of people right now are looking and saying, well, these PlayStation games are going to PC. They're getting the better versions. What is the proposition for me to move to another PlayStation console when I already have my PS5? I can play whatever games if I'm actually itching to play them day one. And I can get a PC, have access to a lot more emulation, other games, and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, when the conversation is going on, there's usually, a lot of pertinent questions that need to be taking a look at. Because from the price to performance comparison, the PC is better. Depending on how want to, structure it, the PC still gives you short term, in some cases, depending on how you build, or long term savings at the end of the day. To that, an audience member put up a little question that I thought was very interesting that we should take a look at. So, shout out to this audience member of mine. I'm going to call you M for, simplicity. They said, in regard to the price comparison of your console versus PC, I've had every PlayStation since PlayStation 1 and never had or paid for a subscription service. It's not a requirement. Well, I'm glad I was doing it based on what I would spend because right now my PlayStation Plus is still active. So that's the subscription fee that I'm paying. So I'm adding that in there. However, looking at the PlayStation 5 Pro, that one, even without a subscription fee, you are almost $800 in to be able to get the same PlayStation base experience, seeing that the game or the console does not come with a hard drive. And they asked a very interesting question. They said, also, did you include the cost of your Windows OS in your PC pricing? Now, this is a very interesting question that comes up whenever people talk about this stuff. And in all fairness, this individual said that, they've been a gamer for years and play mostly strategy games, and they haven't played in a few years. It was fun. So I'm sure you probably are not aware that Windows is actually free. Yes. Windows 11 and Windows 10 are actually free. You can go to Microsoft's website. This is not, going to a key site or whatever it is, and you can create a Windows installation media for Windows 11 and even for Windows 10 if you want. They're actually available. In fact, you can even get for the latest ones or whatever you want to do, and you basically have the operating system on your setup if you're building one that has compatibility with Windows 11. If not, you can build one that has compatibility with Windows 10, and you should be able to get your operating system on there. Now, even if Windows was not free, what other options do you have? Well, I'm glad you asked. There are numerous Linux operating systems that are out there that are free in terms of you basically building and putting on your PC. In fact, I'm trying to explore that, paradigm just to see how it works. I have a friend that's really big on Linux. He's a programmer. He's been talking to me about it back and forth. So possibly I'll more than likely give it a try if I have some time. So that particular aspect of the conversation is a misnomer. It doesn't even exist that you need to be paying for an operating system. It hasn't existed for a long time. And even yet, if we went to look at, say, keys for the operating system, you'd be very surprised how cheap they are. Because, again, Windows sells these OEM keys in bulk. And so they're very cheap. And so once they sell them some way, somehow, because, these companies are probably not using them, or maybe they're machines and devices that are getting collapsed, those OEM keys make their way into the, ether, and people can get access to them. But Microsoft understands this and is like, yeah, why bother, worrying about individual users when if they get on Windows, there's a likelihood that they'll be using some of our Windows, software and, so on and so forth. So again, you get to run the software for free. And I think the only downside is you don't get too many customization options, of which no one actually cares about that. If you can get $100 software for free, nobody really worries about customization. Very good question here, though. Let's go ahead and put this out here. So did you do a comparison using used parts too? No, I did brand new for the for the gaming PC. So this person said, I buy my systems used. I paid $220 for my PlayStation 5. That is a crazy good value for the $220. However, in order for you to play PlayStation, and I'm going to make, and I want to squeeze this argument dry too, because what this person did is they've done something really, I think this is brilliant because this is a whole different conversation. This is not the PS5 Pro versus PC building. So now what I want to do is I want to take you guys into the depths of PC building. I hope you guys are ready, okay? So this is the one side of PC building that, for the most part, nobody will really talk about because it seems like everybody is so adamant about, oh man, you used parts? Ew. My PlayStation 5 was actually brand new. But this person is like, oh yeah, I use new parts and I paid $220 for my PlayStation 5 unit. Very good. Now, first things first, let's go ahead and look at the PlayStation games on PC. These will be our benchmark that tell us what kind of hardware we need to actually go ahead and run, PlayStation games. Let's look at, say, let's just Ghost of Tsushima. It's a PS4 game, but a lot of these PlayStation games, except Spider-Man, are PlayStation 4, cross-compatible games. We're also going to look at Spider-Man 2 as well because the hardware is very similar. They want me to have an i3 7100 or an AMD Ryzen 3 1200 CPU or a GTX 960. If we go online and we say maybe eBay and look up what a GTX 960 costs, I think you're going to be really pleased to see that these are $30, $40 graphics cards out here that can actually go ahead and build you a compatible system. Now you're going to play at 30 FPS, no problem. But again, this is the capability of the used market. Now, that $220 price point that you have for your console, you can build a really dirt cheap used PC by buying what's called an OEM gaming PC setup or something like that. These are PCs. No, this is not what I'm looking for. Gaming. Let me show you what it is. Gaming desktop, Dell, eBay. You can buy these gaming desktops that have been discontinued anywhere from $70 to $120, and then it will come with a CPU. It will come with RAM, motherboard, power supply, and a case altogether. You can go through eBay and see some of them, and you can see their pricing. I mean, yes, they play Fortnite at 1080 and all this stuff. And then you can buy yourself a cheapo GPU and put it in there. And for the RTX 2060, which is the recommended requirement right now for the GPU, you can buy very cheap as well. So dirt cheap, you can do $300 on a gaming PC that would play PS5 games at, yes, low quality for 1080, or in some cases, depending on the kind of game, you can play for a decent quality. Of which what's funny is a game like Ghost of Tsushima, I've beaten it only once, and the one time I played it was on a PS4, 30 FPS, and it was still my favorite game. So that's a very good question. But again, this is a deep side of PC gaming. The used market, if we did used market, console will never, ever catch up. Now, keep in mind as well that PS5 unit that you've bought, it does have a downside. It's a lockdown ecosystem, which can almost never be upgraded in terms of its performance. And I say almost because you can go put a solid, brutally fast SSD later down the road, or NVMe if they bring out something faster than what's currently available on the market, and you can get a little bit of performance boost. But that's about it. Whereas that PC that you just got, you can still, within those generations, buy something much more. Now, yes, you'll reach a peak, but if you got to that point, then, again, that's one of those things where you can pretty much, find a way to upgrade maybe your GPU if that's something that you want to do, or increase your RAM. All of those things are options for the PC gamer. Again, it's very interesting to see that, the PC gaming scene, and this has always been available for the most part, guys. It's been here for years. And then they say, when you say console gaming, do you include the Switch with the Series S? The Switch is more of a console handheld hybrid. So if I were to compare the Switch, I would say our handhelds on the Steam side. And on the Steam side, you're looking at something like, say, what's the name of the Steam Deck, of which you're getting a better hardware than the Nintendo Switch. You can play Nintendo Switch games emulated on this hardware because you can install Windows on it. There are guides on how to do it. And you can come in at a price point right now anyways that is absolutely just as, interesting as a Nintendo Switch. You can do some upgrades later. But if you don't want to do the upgrades, you can pretty much go for the $399, Steam Deck, which grants you access into getting Windows on it, which is also free. You can pretty much use a method to get Windows on there with a memory card, and you can pretty much get your Steam games out. Your Switch games, you can play them on there. Also, this device is a full-blown computer if you have a dock. So your Nintendo Switch, even though it's a handheld that has its own, games and all that, the PC hardware also does a good job in being able to match what its proposition is at the end of the day. So I'm really excited about these questions. And, somebody said, because I've seen people that do that before when talking about specific console market shares and units sold. So yes, I do consider the Switch as, a console. But at the end of the day, there is a now, anyways, thanks to the Steam Deck and all of the market being flooded with handhelds, there's a paradigm to use to find a comparative hardware piece at the end of the day. So PC gaming still takes the cake. It always has anyways. I mean, this is not really a fair argument, but like I said, people are now much more warmed up to the reality that, a PC is now a very, very solid proposition to them anyways. It's always been that, but I'm happy that we're having these conversations on this level right now. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.